The suspect repeatedly rammed his SUV into the Leicester police station. News of Breyer's good deed is spreading fast. A customer gave him $20 to help pay for another veteran's groceries. Finding a ride like this is pretty hard. There's a national bike shortage. Olivia, thousands of police officers came out to support Officer Familia. Meanwhile, many people lined the streets to say goodbye. For Ray, the challenge is about more than just lacing up his sneakers and staying motivated during the pandemic. It's about history. The stakes behind me mark where the Grace Center will be built. Local police departments will also be able to use these holding cells on weekends instead of having to hold prisoners at their stations. The idea of the pantry is to drop something off if you can, or take something if you need it. Olivia, Worcester State is keeping its indoor mask policy in place. Schools will also have signage on the floor to direct students what way to walk. The Heberts say that each goat also has a unique personality. Some of the people at the fundraiser, like me, have never curled before. As the sun comes up, Bright O'Hene is already on his way to volunteer at the Southbridge COVID-19 vaccination site.
So you want to be a volunteer and help, you don't need to have a car to drive there.
Bright lives in Worcester. He takes 2 buses, then walks, or in some cases runs, to get to the clinic on time.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
When Bright gets to the community center, it's straight to work, cleaning and preparing vaccination cards.
I need to be involved in this very important thing.
As the patients roll in, Bright makes sure they're okay after getting their shots.
So how are you doing, sir?
Good, fine.
All right.
After all, he is a biomedical scientist, cardiovascular surgeon, and cardiologist in China. He's here on a visitor's visa.
And I can work, but I can still do something to help people.
Bright says he'll have to leave the U.S. in a few months before he can come back. So it makes it tough finding a place to stay.
Somebody say, oh, we have a basement that nobody is living in there. You want to stay there for a while? I was in Boston, but who can afford Boston's accommodation sometimes?
He was taking classes at Harvard, but they're on hold for the time being. Bright is hoping he can take his medical boards and get a visa to allow him to stay and work in the U.S.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to really learn here.
One day he'd like to open his own medical clinic in the U.S. and his native country, Ghana. But for now, he'll keep volunteering from sunrise to sunset. Dante Carlor loved to play basketball. That's why his family is having a basketball tournament here in his honor later this month. Visiting Worcester's Hope Cemetery is tough for the Carlor family.
Total disbelief. It's been a year and it's still disbelief.
Jamila Carlor says the murder of her son Dante and his best friend Kashawn Webster is still unsolved. The teens were shot outside a home in Boston. Dante went to school in Worcester and was just 16 years old.
I'm angry. I'm confused because we don't know who did this, why they did this.
It's hard to accept that he's not going to be here anymore to experience the rest of life.
To help keep the teens' memory alive, Jamila and Jalea founded the Dante Carlor Foundation. The goal is to raise funds to help Worcester teens get involved in after-school programs and to combat gun violence.
My son would have wanted this. He loved his friends, he loved his family, he loved his community. He wouldn't want this to happen to anybody else. And so me and my daughter and my family are going to do whatever we can to try to prevent this from happening to anybody else.
Julia says she hopes the foundation will keep kids off the streets and save lives.
A lot of them are just lost. They don't have guidance. They don't have help.
And while the family is helping others, they say they have hope there will be justice for Dante. The fundraiser here on the 21st is open to the community. Dante's mom says there'll be free haircuts, food, and resource tables for families. In Worcester, Katie Benoit, Spectrum News 1.
Excited? You want to go to work? Come here. See, he's already in order. I don't even have to tell him.
K9 Riggs is showing off
Heel.
his skills.
Heel. Good. Sit.
He's trained to sniff out human tissue,
go to work?
blood, and bone. He's been working alongside his handler, Auburn firefighter Matthew Ether, for about a year and a half after the department got him through a donation.
Seek.
In that time, Riggs and Ether have helped dive teams find 2 drowning victims in central Massachusetts.
Riggs could indicate within 30, 40 feet of the body, and the divers will only have to search a certain area instead of searching the whole body of water, which could take days.
Days which can be tough on the families of victims.
It cuts down on the wait time for the family. There's a tremendous amount of relief that comes the quicker that we can bring a resolution to some type of an incident. and Riggs allows us to do that effectively.
It's an unfortunate situation, but we're also bringing closure to the families.
Fire Chief Stephen Coleman says Riggs can also help prevent tragedy.
Many of the lakes and ponds that we respond to here in District 7, they're very deep, they're very weedy. Every time we put a diver in the water, there's the potential for something bad to happen.
Riggs is also trained to help find fire victims.
Go boy, buddy! Go boy!
But he's more than just a resource. He's Ether's best friend at work and at home. It was Ether's idea for the department to get a dog.
Long-time dream, I would have to say. I've always wanted to work with dogs. He's my buddy. My wife thinks I love him more than I love her.
Ether says Auburn is the only department in the state with a dog like Riggs. The two are hoping to get their national certification for finding human remains this summer. Katie Benoit, Spectrum News 1.